Hey guys, Dylan from Noble Records coming at you with another video. So I've been thinking about this lately about just like rare records and expensive records, and I always just try to talk about what's on my mind, what I'm excited about, things like that. Just be honest with you guys and just show you what records I'm excited about. That's what my channel has always been about. But here lately I've been thinking about, like I did my last video, was all these crazy records that I found pretty much all at the same time, just some crazy grails you just never see. I got a lot of comments that were just real hateful about, which, to be honest, I do not care. Like, it doesn't bother me. I like what I like. If you don't like it, that's fine. It does not affect me or what I'm going to do in any way. But I am self-aware, and I do think about things of like why I'm doing what I'm doing, like why. And, truth be told, the records that I bought, I would have been foolish to not buy them because I got them at good deals and they're rare. So even if I was just going to turn around and flip them, that's what I do. I buy records. So, but anyway, I'm not flipping those. I'm keeping them. They're all still right here next to me on the couch. That's stuff that I'm listening to and really enjoying. But, I'll get into that. But the debate is, are rare records that are thousands of dollars as good as your average $10, $20, $30 record? Kind of the debate, how this kind of came into my brain. I've been thinking about doing a video like this for a long time because it is a funny topic. Gosh, there's so much to say, but the other night I found this. This is Miles Davis on the corner. I've found this, many times in the past. And so I was like, I'll keep this. I don't have it right now. And I have not heard it in a while. So last time I heard it was probably 10 years ago. And I was looking for some Miles Davis and threw it on. It just wasn't what I expected. And so I sold it. And I've sold it every time I've gotten it. So the lineup on this is insane. Obviously Miles Davis, Herbie Hancock, Bernie Maupin, Michael Henderson, Chick Corea, like just incredible players on this record. And it is a real face melter. It's really good. And I listened to it back to back with this Malawi. Now this is a super rare record I found in a collection a couple years ago. I actually found it sealed. It's on that Strata label. This in this condition's $500 and up, maybe $1,000. I don't know. I haven't looked it up in a while. But this is a super rare, really kind of the same vein as this Miles Davis record. Only difference is this one is, super rare and worth $1,000 or whatever, and then this one is not that rare and worth like $40 maybe. In comparison to the cost, which one's better? This one's way better. It's just better. But it's Miles Davis, and you hear about Miles Davis all the time, and it's not as rare and all that stuff. And so you don't really hear people talk about it obviously you hear people talk about Miles Davis ad nauseum, but this is a incredible record, very well done, and it blows $1,000 record out of the water. So why would I have a $1,000 record? Why wouldn't I just sell this one and buy a bunch of these? Well, the reason for me is I want both. I want the crazy stuff and I want the common stuff. This is common, but it is the fringe of Miles Davis. When most people talk about Miles Davis, they're talking about, In a Silent Way or Kind of Blue or whatever. But this is a killer one. So that was just one example that I thought of, and it was literally what spawned this whole video is that I listened to these two records back to back, and I was like, obviously I know that in my head. Like I said, I think that the key to living a good balanced life is being self-aware and knowing your shortcomings and knowing what makes sense about you and your personality and what doesn't. And I try to be very self-aware. I do understand that I post videos all the time of like crazy rare records and stuff. That's exciting to me, to find something that's hard to find. It's exciting to me. That's kind of half of the draw of record collecting, is finding something that you can't find, That's with anything, I follow these people on Instagram that they find shark's teeth and they find these huge megalodon teeth and stuff. It's probably not even really as much as they want the teeth. It's just that it's, the thrill of the hunt. So you guys, listen, you guys are going to probably cancel me and just like unsubscribe and all that stuff. It's fine. I'm just being honest with you. This is going to piss some people off, okay? Farm. All right, this is my most wanted record for years and years and years. I love this record. I'm telling you right now, I will not say a bad word about this record. It is top tier, in my opinion, of the obscure rock type stuff. I love this record with all of my heart. Is it as good as the Allman Brothers? No. Okay? I'm just saying. It's hard. So if you listen to this record, there's a strong Allman Brothers influence. In interviews, the guys have said they were really influenced by the Allman Brothers. This record now, I don't even know what they go for, $1,000 and up. It's a crazy, rare record that everybody wants. But everybody wants it because it's like the Allman Brothers, but maybe a little heavier. It's a very unique sound, you know, but they do have that Allman Brothers feel. But this first Allman Brothers record is amazing. It is an amazing record, but there's just so many out there that we, like for me personally, like the reason I wanted that record is because it sounded kind of like the Allman Brothers, and there was a strong Allman Brothers influence, and I love the Allman Brothers. Allman Brothers are one of my favorite bands, and their records are relatively easy to find. Now this is a first press, and it is like near mint, super cleanest copy I've ever seen. So these are kind of hard to find clean, but anyways, you know, all that to say, Farm, is it worth the money? It's up to you if it's worth the money. For me, I wanted that record. It meant a lot to me, and so I was able to track one down and buy one. It was not cheap, but that's what it's all about for me. So, like, I think I have more examples like that to show. Bear with me. I always think, why do I do what I do and, you know, spend a lot of money on records? So first of all, if you see all these rare records, I don't really ever, there's people online that would charge, like, I'm just going to pick a random record out of the stack. So let's just say Food, Forever is a Dream. This is a great psych record. I had it in my last video. Somebody will have this on, like, I just put one of these in my shop. Very clean copy, $150. That's what it should go for. That's the fair price. That's what I put it in my shop for. You'll have people that will go on and they'll post things for sale on Instagram or maybe eBay or Discogs or whatever. And they'll have that record for $350 or whatever. Super, like way over what it should be priced, but it's kind of hard to find. And I think sometimes people that are just tired of waiting on it will just go ahead and do it just to get it crossed off their list or whatever. And so for me, I do not buy records at exorbitant prices that they're not worth. I have to buy them at a price to where if I needed to sell it to make my money back, I could and make a little bit. That's what I like to when I buy a rare record. So I'm patient with it. I'm not going to spend too much. I won't spend too much because in my DNA, I cannot pay more than something's worth. I just don't. I just can't let myself do it. So I usually, with rare stuff, I'm patient till the right thing comes along. And if it's something I really want, I'll pay the retail price for it, like that it's supposed to go for. But usually I try to get a little bit of a deal. I've bought so many common records in my lifetime, and I have everything that's common that I would really want. And so the only thing left is the rare stuff. So for me to continue my pursuit in record collecting, I kind of have to seek out the rare stuff, the hard stuff to find. And I do realize that a huge point of the draw is the thrill of the hunt. And I still want that for myself. I still want a challenge. You know, that's what a huge part of collecting for me is the challenge of finding. There's always the debate, like if someone could, you know, showed up at your front door and snap their finger and say, here's every record that you would ever possibly want. That would be awesome, but it would take a huge element of the fun out of the pursuit of the record. That is a huge part of it. And when you find a record you've been looking for, you're like, oh, that rush, you know, that is such a huge part for me. Maybe it's not for you. Maybe I'm stupid, but that's the way it is. So this is a super rare, I talk about this sometimes, the Brief Encounter. I think there's a sealed one on eBay right now. This is a $2,000 and up. It's a local North Carolina funk grail. It's like boogie funk. And it's great. It's a great record. It's really good. I got it years ago and didn't pay nearly that for it, but it's a great record. But Brick Good High is better. This is a $5 record. It's in good shape. It's $5. You know, another one. This is another one that came off right off the top of my head. This is War Pig. This is just the one that I thought of. This is the first Canadian pressing. This is a super heavy hard rock record. I call it the Canadian Black Sabbath. And that's what it sounds like. It's really cool record. And this is probably a $600 record, something like that. I don't know. I didn't pay that for it, but that's kind of, I think, what they're going for now. I could be wrong. But it's not as good as Black Sabbath Paranoid or Black Sabbath's first record. The key of all these like super heavy early 70s hard rock records is they're all trying to be like Black Sabbath. They're all trying to be like, Black Sabbath, Uriah Heep, the Southern Rock, they're all trying to be like Allman Brothers and Leonard Skinner. There's all and a lot of the heavy bands, they're trying to be like Zeppelin or Rush or whatever. And so they emulate the sound very well, and they have an interesting take. And that's what I like about it, is the interesting take of it. But here's another one. The Meters. This is the Meters' first record. This has gotten to be an expensive record. It didn't used to be. When I found this years ago, it wasn't like it was maybe like a $30 or $40 record when I found it. Now it's 10 times that probably. I don't know. No, not that much. I don't know. You can look it up. But the Meters debut, self-titled, this is an incredible record. And all those rare funk albums, a lot of them are taking a huge piece of the Meters and trying to interpret it kind of in their own way. So this is one, Armageddon. All these early 70s super hard and heavy records. This is a $10 to $20 record maybe if you... this is a perfect promo copy, so maybe a little bit more for this one. But this is one that is good or better than all the $500, $600 rare rock records. This is amazing. I think that with collecting records, you can get in the weeds with it. And, I'm right now kind of I've bought a lot of rare stuff lately, and I'm kind of taking a step back and trying to listen to the ones that I've gotten, be honest with myself whether it's worth keeping or letting go. And then also, like, man, I just I took a trip last week to Salina, Kansas, and you'll see a lot of videos from that coming up probably this week, next week. But I visited Chad Kassem. He owns Acoustic Sounds, and he took me to his house, and we sat in his listening room, and he put on records, man, and the system he had was mind-blowing. But one thing about him is that he does love, obviously, good sound quality. If you know who I'm talking about, Chad is amazing. He owns Analog Productions. They do not have an audiophile label and pressing plant and all that stuff. And so, a lot of y'all poke fun at audiophiles or whatever, but the thing I saw in him when we were sitting down listening to, not one time did he talk about how much his system cost or can you this or hear that or whatever. We sat there and put records on and talked about the music. I mean, the music was paramount in our conversation. And we were talking about just like Humble Pie. We were listening to Humble Pie Smoking, and it was just like, I have not listened to that record in a really, really, really long time. And I was like, man, this is a $5 record, and it's just so freaking good. It's so good. And so coming back, I'm trying to, think about my journey with collecting from here on. And, that $5, it was the acoustic pressing of it. So it was a really good high quality pressing of it. But, it messes with my head. And like I said, I really do try to be self-aware and not just blindly collect records because everybody else is doing it. Like, I really try to buy things that are important to me. And so maybe I'm going on and on and on, but are the really rare records that you see worth the money? It really depends on you as a collector, if that's something that you want to pursue. People, they'll collect the first pressing Blue Notes. And the thing is, like, there's something about it. This, Soul Station, I show this record all the time. This is probably my favorite Blue Note that I have. It's super, super clean. And the sound that comes out of a clean, first press Blue Note is a unique sound. It sounds amazing. There's nothing quite like it. Even the audiophile reissues that sound really, really good. It's a different sound. I'm not saying one's better than the other. I'm just saying it's very unique. When you hold this, it's like holding just a piece of history. That this was around back then and someone cared for it enough to keep it in good shape all these years. A record I show all the time, Fraction of Moonblood. This is, you'll probably see the icon of me holding this record and the Armageddon record, and how the price difference of both of these is insane. But this record is one of those, Fraction of Moonblood, there's not many like it. And these have gone for $10,000, $12,000. This copy's probably not worth that. This is a nice copy, but the ones that are $10,000, $12,000 are like in the shrink mint, you know. They've gone for that much money. Now, granted, I did not pay nearly that for it. I got a very good deal on this years ago. But, you know, and if I didn't have this and someone said, hey, I'll sell you one for $10,000, I would not do it, you know. But this is a record that is very unique. It sounds incredible. There's nothing quite like it. I've compared it to Black Sabbath and the Doors if they had a love child, you know. It's amazing. But there are good reissues of it. There's a reissue coming this year. This is a fantastic record that it's one of those kind of a conundrum. If you want an original, something that sounds like that, you can't find it. Another one is, I pulled this off my wall, Obsession 77. This is an Indian psychedelic funky record that there is nothing like this. There's nothing that sounds like this. And I don't really know if this has been reissued. I think parts of it have been. I'm not sure. I think now again reissued actually, but this is a crazy record. It's not comparable to anything else, you know, and that's why I mean, and it is an amazing record, and there's nothing like it. That's why I wanted it. This Randy Holden Population 2, you know, the fact that this is a first pressing, and the story behind it, and I talk about this all the time, but the story behind this, and this record's not even supposed to exist. You know, it's special to me. I've got such a draw to that album and to Randy himself. I've got a history with the whole thing. You know, that was our first exclusive, was Randy Holden Population 2, and I got to meet him and interview him and all that stuff. All that. But so I think, you know, what is important to you is what you should collect. And I've lately been saying this in a lot of my videos, but the fact that nobody cares about your collection but you. You know, a lot of people, I feel like they collect to impress people. And no one cares. Like, you know, nobody cares what you have. No one's going to be like, oh, wow, you know. They might think that for a minute, but it's not. They're not thinking about it all day. It's not affecting them. And so, like, for me, I think, well, do I do? Because a lot of my comments are like, oh, this guy's just trying to hype up records and he's just blah, 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 blah. I mean, and they're going to get that grumbling, complaining all the time. But I think, no, I did this before YouTube. I did this before I had YouTube. I did this when I was sitting alone in a room listening to records that nobody cared about. For years, I did this. So it's not that I'm trying to hype it up or anything like that. It really is that I like it. And if there was no internet and there was no YouTube, I would still be doing exactly what I'm doing. I love rare records. I love stuff that's hard to find and all that. But the question at hand is, are rare records better than common records? And the answer is, most of the time, no. You know, most of the time, they're not. Now, with rare records, there's different reasons they're rare. You know, like the original Witch Lazy Bones. I've got it on my wall. I didn't want to grab it down, but that record is super rare just because, first of all, it's rare. Second of all, most of them just did not survive in Africa to come over here to the U.S. So that's an amazing record that I'm glad to have in my collection. But you know, you got Blue Notes. Blue Notes aren't rare. You know, Blue Notes, that was a pretty common type of label. But to find a first pressing on some of them in super clean shape, that is rare. That's hard to find, you know. With the private press stuff that they only made 500 or 1,000 copies stuff, you know, that stuff is really rare. But if you're wanting to collect records, I think the main point of this is that if you want to collect records and you're collecting these mega grails that are hundreds and thousands of dollars, I really think that it is the healthiest thing to do is also collect the kind of cheaper stuff like Humble Pie, or, you know, I say cheaper as in Black Sabbath. Some of you might be saying Black Sabbath is expensive. You know, you can get most Black Sabbath records for $40 and under if you get the first US press or whatever. Or, you know, I think that it's imperative that we listen to the bands that inspired those bands, because there's so, like, every rare record I pull off my wall, I can say, this record is this because of this band, and that this was their influence, you know. And so I think if we ignore their influences and just listen to the rare stuff, it's pretentious and it's kind of stupid. So if you are collecting records and kind of newer into it, or you're not willing to pay the big bucks for records and all that stuff, truth of the matter is, if you're collecting the common stuff that you really like and is really good, you're focusing on the right stuff, and that's really what matters. So anyways, hope you guys have enjoyed my rant. Let me know what you think in the comment section. I'm sure I'm going to get hammered. But thank you all. We'll see you next time.